Hi everybody, happy New Year's Eve. It's the Nerd Guy Reviews and welcome back to another video. Seeing as it's New Year's Eve, I thought I would talk about some of the upcoming Marvel content, specifically the TV shows announced to debut in the next couple years. Before we get into the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're not already. It would really help us out. And just keep in mind, Marvel has announced so many of these shows, and I'm excited for pretty much all of them. So don't be surprised if your favorite is ranked pretty low. This isn't the perfect list, it's just my opinion. I would love to hear yours in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and let's begin the video. So easily coming in last place is the I Am Groot show. Now this is a show which has a much younger target audience. It's described as, I guess, short like episodes maybe with Groot, and it just does not look good. One, it's not at all important. This is not going to be, I'm not sure if it's going to be canon, but it's not going to be important. Nothing big is going to happen here. There's no way that you need to watch this show, and I'm definitely not going to watch it. Obviously, I see that some kids might enjoy this, but someone my age and older and far younger would also probably not enjoy this. So, in 12th place is Miss Marvel. Now, this is a show, or no, a character that I'm not very familiar with, and I assume that it will probably be pretty good. I think it's going to come next year, and I am excited for it. It's just I don't know that much about the character, and not much has been announced. I am sure that it will be good, and it'll probably end up being bumped higher once the show actually comes out. But for now, as we don't know anything, and this just seems the least interesting out of all these shows. In 11th place is IronHeart, another character that I'm very unfamiliar with. And while Iron Man is my favorite superhero and I want to see more Iron Man content, I don't see the point of doing this show when they just announced a War Machine show. That sounds a lot better. I would rather see War Machine deal with this kind of stuff. The stuff following Tony Stark's death. Some of the things they established in Far From Home. So this is a show that I would probably feel more excited for if the War Machine show hadn't been announced, but because it has, this show just feels unnecessary to me. In 10th place is the Hawkeye show, and Hawkeye is a character who I've just not found interesting at all throughout the course of his 5 or so appearances. On the plus side, I feel like Hawkeye is suited better for a TV show. He's kind of a TV show budget character. He doesn't have all these big, like, sci-fi alien action stuff. It's just him, guy with a bow and arrow, no superpowers. So I think that, in that sense, the show has potential, but at the same time, it feels inconsequential. It's not going to matter too much in the greater MCU. It might introduce Kate Bishop, but other than that, you could probably skip this, and I think it'll probably end up being boring. Number 9 is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which isn't necessarily a TV show, but I figured I would include it on this list, as it's another project that Kevin Feige announced. Obviously, it's paying homage to the Star Wars Holiday Special, as both set in space, and I have no doubt this special will be funny and entertaining, and I'm super excited for it. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. At the same time, though, this isn't going to move the MCU forward, or even the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise forward that much. I don't really know if it's going to be canon, and, well, it's going to be fun. Nothing important is really going to happen in the special, and you could definitely skip this one. Number 8, MoonKnight. Now, I am not super familiar with MoonKnight, but they announced that Oscar Isaac would be playing him, which just definitely bumped it up for me. I think he's a really good actor, and I think he's going to do a great job. Now, doing some research and watching videos about Moon Knight to kind of boost my understanding of the character, he actually sounds really interesting. His powers are interesting. I like his power set. He's also a darker character, and all this stuff, I think, combined with Oscar Isaac, his power set, I think is going to work really well on a TV show, and I hope that we get to see Moon Knight cross over some more into the MCU. So overall, I think this is a solid show, and I'm probably going to enjoy it more, but as I really still don't know that much about the character, it's just going to be in 8th place. Number 7 is going to be WandaVision, and while I like Scarlet Witch and Vision, and there seems to be this tons of cool stuff, judging by the trailer and what we've heard. Stuff about the multiverse, Sword, maybe Evan Peters coming back as Quicksilver. You got Darcy Lewis, Jimmy Woo, all these cool things that I think could make it a great show. And what I did like about the trailer is that it kind of told us what the show was going to be about without really giving anything away. And it still kind of, showed us clips and we can kind of get an idea and we get to speculate a lot. The problem was I have no idea what's going on. And for a show like this, I would love to know the plot. I could not explain what's going on to anyone very well because of how little we know, and I wish they had announced more. Also, some of the weird sitcom-y stuff they're doing just looks weird and not very interesting. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a really big, important show, but I'm just a little worried about how this is going to turn out. Sixth place is What If. This is going to be definitely a cool and interesting show, and I think it's going to be really great, and they have the opportunity to tell a lot of amazing stories. On top of that, you have all these voice actors coming back to voice their characters from the MCU, and we could even get like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. to reprise their roles, which would just be fantastic. So all that stuff I'm super excited for. I think they can tell a lot of great stories, but it isn't canon. It's not. You don't need to watch it. And this isn't going to really move the MCU forward in the way that I would like it to. And a show like this, it's fine, but that doesn't mean that I would really be able to put it much higher. Because the top 5 are shows that are really I'm excited for, are going to move the MCU forward in meaningful ways and are going to further develop these important characters. Number 5 is She-Hulk. And at first, I was not super excited for She-Hulk. Obviously, there's some cool stuff. She-Hulk is a lawyer. I'm interested in law, so that's interesting to me. But then, recently, they announced that Mark Ruffalo would reprise his role as Hulk, which sounds great. I actually really do like Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, and I'm glad that we're going to see him again. I really think he's underrated, and they should have given him more to do than just kind of be in the Avengers movies. On top of that, you get Abomination coming back, and well, I really don't like The Incredible Hulk. I think Abomination was actually one of the highlights of that. I think he was a really great villain. He has a wonderful chemistry with everyone. The actor does a great job. And he's just a good contrast to Hulk. As Hulk gets such power, he immediately wants to get rid of it, to help people. And then Abomination, the second he gets this similar power, he craves it, he wants more of it, he wants to, wreak havoc. And I just think that's kind of a great contrast. So at number 4 is Armor Wars, the War Machine show. I think War Machine would be a really good character for a TV show. And I would like to see him finally kind of step out of Iron Man's shadow and become his own character. And I think that there's some room to make him way more interesting and give him a lot more development. Kevin Feige also talked about how this show would cover stolen Iron Man technology falling into the wrong hands, perhaps Justin Hammer or another big thing like Oscorp or something. So I think this could be a setup for some really great stuff in the MCU, and I do really like Don Cheadle as War Machine, so I'm pretty hopeful that this show is going to be good. Number 3 is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now this show just looks amazing. I think this is a safe bet for a good TV show. It's like a spy thriller, and it's also kind of a buddy comedy, and you have these 2 leads who are both really interesting, who I want to learn more about. I want them to have development, and I think they just have always had really great chemistry with each other. And on top of that, you have kind of Captain America stuff going on. I don't know if they're going to do anything big, like maybe revealing that Captain America died of old age or something like that. Just cool stuff like that, or how the government deals with finding a new Captain America and stuff like that. Something similar to what they do with Iron Man and Far From Home, but with Falcon instead of Spider-Man. I think that could just be super interesting stuff. Top of that, you're throwing in Zemo, one of my favorite villains from the MCU. That's just a great, safe choice to make the show even better, and it just looks great for a TV show, and I'm super excited for it. Our runner-up is Secret Invasion. Now, this is just a huge comic storyline, and they're finally adapting it for a TV show. You get Nick Fury and Talos, who are both some of the highlights of Captain Marvel. Sam Jackson is one of my favorite actors and characters in the MCU. You throw in Talos, who's another really fun character to have, and he and Nick Fury have this great back and forth. And then you have Sword, which just looks really cool, and it just seems like a really interesting plot for a TV show. This is definitely going to be a big deal. It's not going to be smaller scale like the Hawkeye show. And then there's the chance that some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters could pop up, which would just be incredible and boost this show possibly to my favorite, depending on whether we can get Quake or someone like that to show up. But coming in at number one, without a doubt, is the Loki show. Loki is one of my favorite characters from the MCU. He's easily my favorite villain, and he has one of the greatest character arcs of any of the characters. And people have complained that they gave him a good sacrifice. Why should they bring him back? But I don't see it like that. I think that Loki died, and he had a great character arc, but now they're just kind of building his character, giving him even more development. And I think it's such a great premise to have this different version, a more evil, who hasn't gone through the change in the last two Thor movies, and to deal with that. And it just looks so interesting. It looks like a mystery show, and there's going to be different versions of Loki. Get an older Owen Wilson, and I guess they're also going to be dealing with time stuff, time variance authority, all that stuff. I just really dig it. I love stories about time and messing with that stuff. So I just think it's going to be really interesting. Then the trailer we got was just amazing, and it left me with so many questions that I really want to get answered. I think, honestly, the best trailer we've seen for any of these upcoming projects. I just think it did such a good job of telling us what the show would be about, and even convincing people who were skeptical that this is probably going to turn out great. So overall, I think this is just a solid show, and it's going to probably have huge implications for Thor 4, which is just obviously stuff I want more questions answered about. So that was my ranking of the 13 announced Marvel Disney Plus shows. It's crazy how much stuff Marvel has announced, but I'm excited for all of it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Next week I might do a similar thing, but with the upcoming movies. We'll just have to see. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another video.